Hey everyone. So when I said last time that there were plenty of packages in my post box, I mean it, and we can just continue with another set of maps that were sent by one of you. But first I also just briefly want to say thank you to Nicole for this beautiful little card. And it's a bit late for Christmas now. It took a while to get here and it took a while for me to pick it up. But this made me really happy too. Thank you so much. And this here is a set of maps and tourist information material for Brisbane that I got from John. And John also wrote a long letter with all kinds of information and background details on Brisbane. So pretty much did my job for me. Thank you so much. This is a really fantastic set. But the package, I think, took some damage on the way. It was a pretty long journey from Australia here to Vienna. So we have a Brisbane region map here, which is pretty much the city centre. But if we turn it over, we're zoomed in even more towards the centre, especially here along the Brisbane River. Brisbane is a city in Australia and the eastern coast, north of Sydney. If we were to follow the Brisbane River here, we will soon get to the coastline. But if you visit the city, you probably want to stay somewhere around here. You can see the lines of the ferries jumping from one side of the river to the other. I think especially this part, the South Bank, and of course Brisbane City, are interesting places to visit. There are of course also some names that are not English, but from one of the original local languages, like here, Wollongabba. I hope that's how you say it. Or sometimes, if you look through the material, you also find an alternative name for the city, which is Melange. Again, that's one of the Aboriginal names. It's the third largest city in Australia and the capital state of Queensland, John writes. And he says it's changed a lot over the decades. You have plenty of botanical gardens, parklands, you have the Koala sanctuary, again Mount Cootha Forest track map, which we're going to have a look at. But he says one of the particularly interesting places is the South Bank, right here. He writes, during the World Expo in 1988, South Bank was redeveloped and now houses lots of cultural sites such as theatres, museums, art galleries, a beach, rainforests, and the Ferris wheel. You can see all that here. There's the Ferris wheel. So, don't have the beach right here, but we do have a number of stars here telling us there's the Queensland Museum, number 12. 6 is the Gallery of Modern Art. Then 26 is the State Library. 1 is the Queensland Art Gallery. And then right next to it we have the Cultural Centre bus station, so it's easy to get to. I of course had a quick look at the museums, especially here, the Gallery of Modern Art, which has an impressive collection of modern and contemporary art from Asia. And I think would definitely be worth visiting. I did have to laugh because it also listed some old masters, including Rubens. And I think there's no place on earth that you can visit without seeing a Rubens painting. There's just so many of them. So you don't have to go to Australia to see Rubens, but you can. All right. Let's just see what else the visitor guide says on the South Bank. There we go, places to stroll and nosh in the flowered parklands. There we go. Doesn't that look gorgeous? So it says Brisbane is blessed with delightfully warm weather pretty much all year. And it's wise to know the best spots to cool off when the mercury starts to rise. And South Bank has some free swimming facilities. They're an absolute saviour, providing a safe environment for people of all ages to enjoy a splash and paddle. Streets Beach provides a little slice of coastal paradise, not to mention the view of the Brisbane River and city skyline is very easy on the eyes. That does look gorgeous, doesn't it? I do think it gets quite hot though. The temperatures in winter go up to 20 degrees, roughly. And in summer you do have sort of a very hot and wet climate, which is a bit difficult for me. It did say it rarely goes above 35 degrees Celsius, but that seems, this seems very hot for me. So then here you also have some outdoor workshops and classes for kids. Right, this here is Streets Beach, so we saw that right here, 17, Streets Beach. And then here you have Rainforest Green, which sounds lovely too. Beautiful place to settle into the lush surrounds of South Bank's Rainforest Green for an afternoon of free live music from emerging artists, singers, singer-songwriters and great Brissie bands, so short for Brisbane. There's local food and beverage vendors that ensure that you don't have to move very far for tasty treats. Does that sound nice? So here we have another photo of Brisbane city as the sun settles, with the bridge that I think we also have on the front, and the skyline. There are some tips on bars and where to go shopping. Ideally in Queen Street, which is here, sort of the main shopping street. If you have a close look, you see here it is Ann Street, Elizabeth Street, Charlotte, Mary, Margaret and Alice. And we don't have the names of these streets right here, but there's Edward. And I think there's like a George. Let's see, do we have them here? George Street, Albert Street. So you might already have guessed these are the names of the royal family at the time of England. So women's names in this direction and men's names in this. Again, the beach right at the center of the city. And I have to say, I usually find all the places I'm showing to you really exciting. I mean, there's beautiful places all across the earth. But we're currently having a really great January day with no light, and it's been snowing a bit, which immediately melted. And this looks like heaven right now. You also have these beautiful trees here with these purple flowers. So I didn't write down the name of the tree. They're originally from Central America and now can be found anywhere here in Brisbane. And it's known for these beautiful blossoms. Obviously you can get active and live like a local. Some more information on where to go shopping, bars, restaurants, jewelry, outdoor dining. Here a rooftop setting called Maya, so it's Mexican. You can have picnics along the river. There's a couple of river bars. And of course also plenty of bars that you can visit at night. And I have to say, I'm not surprised that there are so many pages dedicated to food. I used to watch a lot of MasterChef Australia, and especially the street food looked so good on that show. So I imagine that's standard in Brisbane, right? So in this page it says experience of River City, which is called Mawar to the local indigenous people. It links many inner city precincts. Visit the abundance of cultural institutions at the South Bank. Ride the bicentennial bikeway on a city cycle. if we can see this here. But there are a couple of places where a pathway has been built. So just along the shore, but across the water. You can ride your bike or go for a stroll, which looks really lovely. You can catch the latest bands at riverside, which we've just seen earlier. You can get active on a kayak or rollerblade around Kangaroo Point. You can climb up and head to Eagle Street Pier for a more sophisticated introduction to riverside life. So that would be here, Eagle Street Pier. And I have to say, I really like that so much of the city is oriented around the river. I always find that a bit of a shame here in Vienna that the Danube's off-center and just doesn't really feel particularly inviting. Obviously there's the island through the Danube, but it's a bit different when you have this kind of urban life that embraces the water. And I think at least for the canal here in Vienna, that would be really, really lovely. So I doubt it would look as great as here. So here we have the Roma Street, Parkland, with these beautiful patterns of differently colored flowers. It says it's one of the world's largest subtropical gardens in a city centre. They were opened in 2001 and are widely considered one of the best contemporary display gardens in Australia. So you can see we're across from St. Andrew's Hospital with the different entry points, the Roma Street train station here to the south. We have a lake in the garden. With lakeside barbecues, forest meadows, lakeside meadows, a celebration lawn. We have a path that sort of snakes through here and invites you to take your time. You get to the theatre. Or you might wander on to the children's garden and the playground. With a child on a swing here. There's another one here. And the lake is home to a number of native species of fish, including the rare lungfish, a living fossil. And it's an important storage point for the Parkland's irrigation system. The Botanic Gardens were established in 1828. Six hectares were allocated to the government garden, and they were cleared and worked by convict labour to grow food for the developing Moreton Bay Penal settlement. So we have a little history lesson in here on the history of the city. Officially opened were the gardens in 1855, so not much later. They were used as an experimental farm and educational establishment. And you can see a rainforest hideaway here. There we go, here's the river stage that was just mentioned. There's the old government house next to the Queensland University of Technology, and then here we have the Parliament. There's an example of that Riverwalk bikeway. And you can see here we have some historic macadamias in the rainforest. We have a palm grove and a bamboo grove. There's Hills Avenue, that rainforest hideaway. But also plenty of places to sit down and enjoy coffee or maybe something cold. There's also a wedding lawn. Let's see. One. There we go, two. Next to the lagoons and People's Walk. A lily pond lawn. Entrance lawn. Royal Palm and Big Tree Avenue lawn. You can also go for a walk in the forest. Further up on the hills where you have a view of the entire city with the river here and the skyline. Or if you want to have a more relaxed day, you can go to one of the night picnic areas. So we have plenty of trails here. All of these numbers are different trails from 1 to 71. Always with information on whether the walking difficulty is easy, moderate or hard. whether you can take your bike, again, including difficulty, and where horse riding is allowed. It says here, always wear a helmet and ride to your skill level. Be sure to tell others where you're going and when you're expected to return. If you have a dog with you, keep your dog on a lead at all times. Because again, the forest is home to many species of wildlife. You have the picnic areas here, gold mine, range view, grey gum, brush box, Simpson Falls. A couple of communication towers, the little triangles here. And the different colors tell us whether it's for walking only, like here in green, shared use in red, for mountain bikes, like over here, or a bikeway. Let's see if we have one of those here. Right here, along the Western Freeway. Also tells you how much time to plan in. For 2.8 kilometers, about 1.5 hours on the Eugenia circuit. Cuts through eucalyptic woodland and wine forest, across the creek and links to the Simpson Falls viewing deck. But I think what anyone would be most excited about is the Koala Sanctuary. It's the world's first and largest. Only 20 minutes from Brisbane's central business district. And there's one of them. They do have impressive claws, but they really are particularly cute animals. This also almost looks like a little picnic with a kangaroo. That's kangaroo feeding. It says they have over 1,000 koalas in the sanctuary and 70 species of native Australian animals. It's the perfect place to get up close and personal with Australia's furry, feathery and scaly friends. So obviously there's also plenty of furry, feathery and scaly friends in Australia that I don't necessarily want to get in close contact with. So plenty of information on this beautiful city. It's regularly voted to be one of the most livable cities in the world. And frankly, I'm not surprised if you look at how beautiful it is. it will also host the 2032 Olympic Games. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of information then on the city. Alright. I hope you enjoyed this little exploration into Australia. For today, thank you for watching. And if you've been feeling sleepy, then it's time to drift off. And I hope you sleep well. Good night.